Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're a vlogger, make sure you get a ton of these little eyeglass cleaning cloths from Amazon. Sometimes you think your camera's acting up, you just need to clean your lens. So I'm a little bit excited because I'm back on my DSLR camera. So you guys know this camera has not been working for a minute. So I thought we could come and chit chat a little bit about being child-free. Maybe addressing rumors, speculations, putting things to rest, etc. We're just going to have a nice candid chat. As always, I will link everything I'm using down below just so I'm not chatting your ear off while doing this. But as usual, I'm starting with concealer. I think by now you guys pretty much know my basic routine. So I have noticed a difference between child-free people making a joke and parents making a joke, and I just don't understand why. I see parents make jokes all the time, literally all the time, about not having children, and I'm sure all of you have come across some sort of little joke, trending sound, meme, etc. on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. I know I've seen the one where like a parent will pan across their house and it's an absolute mess of chaos. And the audio will say something like, "Have a kid," they said. "It'll be fun," they said. And everybody laughs and has a chuckle because it's a joke. But for some reason, when child-free people make a joke, we're taken seriously. Like everything is taken literally. Like we don't assume that a parent making a joke about not having kids or about getting away from their kids or about drinking mommy juice, aka wine, to escape for a little bit means that they regret having kids. Like we don't assume that they regret having kids. We don't assume that they abuse their kids because it's just absurd, right? It's just a joke based on their experiences of being a parent. And so I often joke about having kids or making reference to having kids. And whenever that does happen, I notice speculations, questions, comments, rumors, whatever you want to call it, floating around my comment section. So that's what I'm sort of going to go through and address today. So one joke that I make often, you guys have heard it a million times, I'm sure, is regarding kids' clothes. Okay, it boggles my mind every time I go into a department store or every time I'm shopping for kids' clothes. As you guys know, I have a ton of great nieces, great nephews, etc. So whenever I do find myself in a baby clothes section or kids clothing section, I literally almost always comment on the fact that kids clothes are way cheaper than pet clothes. It really does boggle my mind though, because it's literally the same amount of fabric, and the construction of a baby's onesie and like a dog onesie is honestly the same. It's just there's a cutout for the poop chute, but other than that, I just don't understand why it's 4 times the price, you know? So I always joke about that, and I always say, I might as well have just had a kid. It would have been way cheaper. That's a joke, guys. However, since people want to take me seriously, I am well aware of the fact that it's not cheaper to raise a child than a dog. Like, I know that. You know, or sometimes I'll joke about the fact that obviously vets are not free, but healthcare is in Canada. So I'll joke about that, you know, should have just had a kid, would have been cheaper whenever I go to the vet with Marley. I don't mean that. Like, I'm well aware of the fact that I can opt out of buying clothes for my dog. It's normal to see a dog outside butt-ass naked, but I realize that clothing is a necessity for children and human beings. Like, I realize that. I'm not that delusional, guys. So whenever I make these types of jokes, of course, I get these comments from people who take me seriously. So let's go down some of the comments I get, starting with most recent to like maybe oldest, I guess. So first, "I thought you couldn't have kids." That is a rumor. That is a speculation. And I'm not honestly sure where that has stemmed from, because I have never gotten on YouTube and discussed any of my medical information in detail, because I choose to discuss medical information with a medical professional. and not with strangers in my comment section. So I refer to myself as child free by choice. I think that describes me well. Like, there's no outside reason, such as a medical reason of why I don't have kids, or a financial reason of why I don't have kids, or a partner's reason why I don't have kids. I am child free because I choose to be child free. So, yeah, that's it. Another assumption that I get is that I hate kids. Now, of course, I can't speak for all child-free people, but I do believe that that's a common misconception. For some reason, it is assumed that we hate or dislike children. Like I said, parents can make jokes about getting rid of their kids, dropping them off at grandmother's and never coming back, etc. And nobody assumes that they regret having kids or that they dislike their kids. But for some reason, we get that rap. And yeah, I can go ahead and squash that rumor as well. I have absolutely zero hatred or disdain for children. I like most of y'all kids better than I like you, to be honest. So yeah, absolutely no hatred towards children at all. Another speculation that I've seen, and oh god, I can shut this one down immediately. Absolutely not. Is that I wish I had kids with my ex-husband. Absolutely. Let me tell you something. Kudos and props to y'all who co-parent with an ex. God bless you. Me, myself, personally, I would rather drag my ass across hot coals naked. It's enough for me. I think it was a couple months ago, I did a video where I took, what do you call it? A pregnancy test. I got a couple comments actually saying, why aren't you on birth control? And again, like I mentioned, I have never discussed medical information, including prescription drugs, that is an assumption on your end. Look at all these rumors around me every day. Ooh, I just need some time to get away from. Y'all don't know, I'm sorry, but y'all don't know about that. I really and truly believe that there is a space where child-free people and parents, specifically mothers, I'll say, because that's who, my audience, my demographic is. Yeah, I truly believe there's a place where we can coexist just peacefully. I just don't think that it's a competition. I don't see it as a competition. I just see it as adult women living their life the way they choose to. And luckily we have that choice now. It's not like back in the day where we're forced to birth if we don't want to, or that we're, required to birth for economic reasons, like running the farm, plowing the fields. Like, now we can do it because we want to or because we don't want to. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I just don't see the need for us to have to try to convince each other either way that we're making the wrong choice for our life and making a choice that really would not affect anybody else, I've heard women say that they've never known real love. They've never experienced what true love is until they had a child. And I love that for them. I absolutely believe them when they say that. And I also believe that that is not true for me. And I don't feel the need to convince them either way. I've also heard women say that their life had no true purpose or meaning before they became a mother. And I absolutely love the purpose and fulfillment that they found in motherhood. I also love that that is not the case for me. And I think, again, we can coexist in that beauty without having to convince them otherwise. I just wish that it was reciprocated. I've heard women say that motherhood is the hardest job on earth, and I wish them well in their pursuit of continuing to excel in the hardest job they've ever experienced. And I wish the same for me that I continue to excel in the hardest job that I've ever experienced. And that job doesn't have to be the same. And I'm comfortable with that. And I feel like a lot of parents are not comfortable with me saying that. So it's just very odd. It's just an odd kind of space to be in. I've definitely noticed a shift in the difference of how you're treated being single and child free. And there's like a intersectionality with that single and child freeness. Because I've been child free all my life, obviously, but being single and child free by choice, it's a very unique experience that I've realized a lot of things have shifted in the last few years since I have been both. And when I say child free, I guess I am referring to quote unquote later in life, because you can be child free in your 20s, teens, early 30s, and it doesn't carry the same weight, stigma, and negativity life experiences that being child free in your 40s and plus has. So when I say child free, that's kind of what I'm referring to, because we're considered past our prime, right? In society's eyes. I've noticed differences in the way I'm treated by medical professionals being single and child free. I've noticed differences in how I'm treated online being single and child free. And I've noticed differences in how I'm treated by friends and family being specifically single and child free. And it's a very interesting new experience. I was actually considering doing like a video on it specifically, but I've changed my mind. I do think, if I'm being honest, that oftentimes when child-free people speak, whatever they say is seen almost as an attack on parenthood. And so I might create like a closed community group because it'll just be more of a safe space. Initially, I didn't even think that there would be an audience for it. For some reason, I assumed that most of you are parents or mothers, but I did a poll on my Instagram, and it turns out, like, I asked how you identify, whether you're single and child free, single parent, partnered and child free, or partnered with children, and majority of people were single and child free, and I was shocked by that. Like, for some reason in my mind, we're a much smaller community, especially as Black women, but I think we also might be a growing community. I don't know. I've never used Patreon, so that might be a good platform for it, or maybe like a closed Facebook group, or I know YouTube offers memberships, but I think I want to keep it off of YouTube. I think I'd prefer to keep it on a different platform. But anyways, like I said, it's just something I'm thinking about, nothing set in stone, still kind of playing with the idea, so we'll see if I actually do anything with it. Do you guys think I should put lashes on? I'm thinking I might. Hold on, BRB. Okay, my lashes are on. These are actually some of the, I think, biggest lashes that I've worn. Like, yeah, like I was saying, I think this is what I was saying. Like I was saying, I just feel like everything is kind of seen as an attack that child-free people say, even though it's really not. I think that for the majority of us, we really be minding our business and like not thinking about parenthood in that way. So if we mention something that we love about our life, it's just because we love it. It's like not in comparison to a parent's life. You know what I mean? But for some reason, I feel like it's often taken that way. Most of the time, I just find myself keeping my opinion to myself in that aspect. Like, I'll give you an example. Recently, I follow this travel vlogger on Instagram. I've been following her for eons. Like, I've been following her for years. I absolutely love her content. It's so beautiful. And I followed her for years. I've enjoyed watching her travel all around the world before kids. Like, I watched her get married, I watched her have kids, etc. And I still enjoy her content, even as a traveling mother. Recently, she put up a post. It was a beautiful, visually beautiful post that was comprised of photographs and videos of her and her children traveling around the world. Her caption or voiceover spoke to her traveling with her children and what a joyous experience it's been being able to bring her young children all over the world and watch them experience life through these brand new fresh eyes in all of these different places, and watching them experience their first words and first steps all over the world, and like what a beautiful experience that was, and how she was so scared as a travel vlogger of how her life was going to change, and how much more full it is once she embraced it and took that role on, and like she's so happy being able to do it with her children. First and foremost, I completely agree. Like, and I just feel like children who are able to experience different cultures and different countries through this exploratory, unbiased lens make better, more open-minded, more kind adult people. Do you know what I mean? And I went through the comments, and she affirmed so many mothers. Were commenting things like, I can't wait to be able to do this with my children. Thank you for the inspiration. And I'm so scared to travel with babies or children, and you've given me the confidence to go for it and do it. And other women who have said that they've also done the same thing and how full it has made their life. And I thought it was beautiful that she was able to affirm all these women, and I just thought it was so interesting that I was also affirmed. Even though we are from different walks of life, she's a mother of multiple children, and I enjoy her content, and her content speaks to me and inspires me. Despite all of that, I still, looked at this beautiful video and thought, wow, I really don't want to do any of that. And not in a negative way. Like, did not take away from how I felt about her experience as a mother and how much I loved that for her. I just was so much more affirmed that that's not something that I want for me and that I want to ever experience. I don't get the tinge in my ovaries. I get the anxiety in my chest. Like, I know that it's just not something that I want. And I would have loved in that moment to leave a comment and tell her how much, as a child-free person, I appreciate her content and how much she also affirmed me, but I decided to keep that to myself because I knew that it would be seen as an attack. And so I decided, since I now realize that almost half of my followers are also single and child-free, I would bring it to my platform instead, because it's a little bit more of a safe space and maybe more of you would understand my comment as opposed to her followers. I know I've gotten off topic. Let me put a little bit more blush on while I'm chatting. But yeah, back to the rumors. One of the other comments or rumors that I've seen about me is that I regret my choice, or I regret not having kids. And that's also not true. I have always said I didn't want kids for as long as I can remember. I think the earliest I remember saying it was as a preteen. I think maybe I was 12, maybe 13. So I've always known. Have I always been 100% secure in that knowledge? No, I haven't. Because one thing that I will share with my fellow, child-free women is that once you make that decision that you want to be child-free, at least once you vocalize it, it becomes society's mission to convince you that you are wrong. I've been told that my feelings are not valid and that I will change my mind and that I don't know what I'm talking about by teachers, by managers / bosses, by coworkers, especially older coworkers, by strangers on the streets, by hairstylists while I was in their chair, by friends, and most painfully, by family members. And so obviously, if you spend your entire life with a knowing, with an intuition of something that you want, and everybody in your life is telling you you're wrong, at some point you're going to question that. And because of the way society is set up to absolutely invalidate women's feelings, I think that's normal. So if that's something that you are experiencing where you are sure in your decision, but people or outside forces are making you question it, just know that that's a normal experience that unfortunately we'll all have to go through, because it's just not something that society affirms in women, But regardless of all that, I can definitely say with certainty, especially at this point in my life, that I'm happy that I was not wavered. I didn't waver in my decision regardless of outside influences. And I definitely do not regret my choices. And even if you do, I am 100% team. It's better to regret not having kids than to regret having kids and passing that trauma onto them. So yeah, I just thought I'd offer some encouragement to those of you who are living vocally child-free by choice, and also to clear up the rumors and the speculations and all of that jazz, because yeah, I'm good over here, guys. Me and my fur baby, we're good over here. Anyways, all that to say, this is how my look turned out. I look super cute and I have no plans. I'm definitely gonna go outside, girl. See if I can find me a baby daddy. JK! See you in the next video. Peace.